welcome. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Yes, it's amazing. Come on in. It is 7:30. This is what we've been waiting for. I am Chris Spear, and I've asked you all to join me on tonight while we are preparing to introduce to you tonight who Jason Hendrickson really is. So go ahead and tell somebody, let them know we're in, we're here, we're getting started, we're about to do what we have to do. This is going to be an awesome evening. I have so much planned for you. I just can't wait for you guys to just get to know and sit back and relax and find out who Jason really is. So go ahead, tell somebody we're here. Chris Spears here. I have my commentary. Gerard Bonner is also involved. We are going to have a blast. So, but again, thank you for joining. Thank you for telling somebody. Thank you for spreading the word so we can move on and do what we have to do. And just so excited. Jason has been working so hard. But thanks again for stopping by and following and liking, share, invite somebody, tell them we're here. We're starting. We're getting ready to start. This is something you do not want to miss. Promise you, it's going to be amazing. This EPK is amazing. Amazing. And we're about to dig into the depths of who Jason Hendrickson really is. So tell somebody we're here. So come on in. Come on in. So Arms Entertainment has been going now for a good year. And we have a few artists and we have a few musicians. We have people that sing. We are building in a steady place and we are grateful. I am proud of my artists. I am elated at what God is doing with the company and through them with the music that we present and that we share. So I know you guys are in for a treat tonight. In for a treat. And we have been building consistently with this particular project with Jason for I want to say a good year now. We started preparing for some things for 23 to actually do what we're doing. And I'm happy that we stayed the course with this. So it was definitely worth it. And you're going to understand the end of it all, who Jason really is. So come on. What's going on? Jason Hendrickson, the artist, the pastor, the friend, the cook, the drummer. He has so many components to him. And getting to know him and dealing with him has been amazing. When I first came across Jason, I just knew him as a pastor and a singer and with a choir. That's it. I didn't look at him as an actual artist. And to see how creative his mind is, actually working with him one on is amazing. It's just brilliant. He has so many ideas. He's very knowledgeable, very informative. Um, he knows when and where to be who he needs to be at particular times. And that's what I have found myself to understand. It's really amazing to watch somebody know when to be a pastor, to know when to be a friend, to know when to be a chef, when he has to go into the whole entrepreneurial skills and open up businesses and he switches caps constantly. And I just sit back and I'll be like, wow, he is what we call a serial entrepreneur. And I am amazed at what Jason brings to the table. So with that being said, I do have Gerard Bonner with me, and he is going to come on and let us know what he is about. Hi, Gerard. How are you?
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. Awesome. It is good to be here. First of all, congratulations to you and all that Arms Entertainment is doing. Certainly making some big strides in the last year. So, congratulations. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Gerard Bonner from Bonnerfied Radio, the Bonnerfied playlist, pro wrestling, like all kinds of cool things. But yeah, I've been rocking with Jason for a very long time.
Wow.
And
Exactly. A very long time.
a
Oh,
very
man.
long time. And so I'm excited that we're going to be here tonight to really just kind of talk through the journey of Jason Hendrickson and get us updated to where we are now and what's about to happen at the end of the month. So very, very exciting time. Are you excited, Chris?
Oh my God, elated all day. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my God, it's here. You building up the climax and you're waiting, you're like so excited, but I was just like, it's really here. It's really
Yes.
here. You invest so much, you get pieces of your life and you go back and you put it together. And this is what we did.
Yeah.
And to actually see from a little kid until now, it's like a movie.
Yeah.
It's a
It
movie
really, really is.
and it's amazing. We want to actually acknowledge Sherelle Cruz, who actually helped put this together, and
Yes.
an amazing individual, creative,
Yeah.
and it was definitely worth it. It was definitely worth it. I mean, we were debating about when we were going to actually preview and premiere, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just wait because everything has a certain time, and to do
Absolutely.
this right now before this release is
Yes.
amazing. I'm so happy. I'm happy.
Yeah. The timing of this is fantastic. And shout out to all of you who are in the chat. Again, feel free to share this as well, because we're about to dig in. So are you ready to get in this EPK?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I'm ready, guys. This is really some quality stuff here. You're about to learn an awful lot about Jason Hendrickson. So strap on your seatbelts, family. Here is the EPK as we learn about the legend that is Jason Hendrickson.
Yes.
Now loading. Jason Hendrickson. Loading complete.
Hi, my name is Jason Hendrickson, and I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, published author, and a senior pastor. Wow, I wanted to be an artist ever since I was 5 years old. I knew it because I was always performing at family reunions, and I would grab my mom's pots and pans and I would beat on them. And I would also grab the cereal box. I would make all my siblings go sit in the basement with me, and I would actually be preaching and singing the ingredients off of the cereal box. So I knew since I was a little dude that I wanted to do this, that I wanted to share my gifts and use what I knew was on the inside to make people feel better. And that's what I know music does. It changes people's moods instantly, and I wanted to be a part of that process. When did I first start writing songs? I started writing songs back in 1997. I was on tour with Queen Esther Morrow and the Harlem Gospel Singers. And one thing that I found so amazing was we would step out on stage with Queen Esther and people would be coming from work. Some of them came from having fights with their family members and their kids were aggravating them. And the music that we were singing was actually changing these people's temperaments. They came in frowning, but by the third song, they were up dancing and singing and smiling. Some were even crying. And I was like, man, this is something that I want to do. And it was out there in Munich, Germany, where I wrote my first song, and I have been writing songs ever since then. And I love it, man. I just love watching what the power of words and music can do for people that are tuned in and listening. My music is a brand new genre that, a big shout out to my boy Terrell T-Rex Simon. He created this genre called R&G, rhythm and gospel. And that is how you describe the music that I do, because I grew up loving hip hop, R&B, gospel, and when you hear my music, it's infused with all those elements, because I think that as an artist, you have to stay true to what it is that you love, because I believe what's from the heart touches the heart. So when you hear my music, you're gonna hear a little reggae, you're gonna hear a little salsa, you're gonna hear some R&B, some hip hop, you may even hear some classical at some point in time. But I'm just a lover of music. So my agenda for creating, again, is to touch the hearts of all the listeners and bring them joy. And most of all, I want you to get up and dance. I want you to move, I want you to groove, I want it to hit you dead in your chest and make you feel the joy that God gives me from this gift of music. That's what I want you to achieve when you listen to Jay Hen. My favorite song on this project would have to be Another Chance. I love all the music because I've been blessed to have such a creative team that surrounds me and supports me musically. But this song is my favorite because my team really challenged me. I'm not one that does background vocals a lot. I usually have some amazing singers that do backgrounds with me and I'll just jump on the lead. But this time, Fran and Ali, they challenged me to do this entire song by myself vocally. And I was like, wow, okay. And you know, normally when you have amazing singers in the studio with you, you just fall back and let them do what they do, but they pushed me. And it really came out amazing. It was something that was really familiar to me because I've done it before, but not really on any of my projects. So this was really special for me. And of course, the message behind the song was just another chance to make more music, another chance to fulfill my assignment, my purpose. I just love it, man. So that's my favorite song on this project, Another Chance. I got the call to preach back in 1996. I was still living in Europe at the time. And I think when I got the call, I was in Paris. I remember I had just made a run and I was out there during rain season. So I was out by the Eiffel Tower just chilling, getting me a sandwich. And I heard God tell me in my ear, you're gonna preach. And at the time I'm drumming and I'm touring all over the place. I'm like, nah, God, you gotta be kidding me, not me. He's like, yeah, you're gonna do it. And when I got back home in '99, I started doing outreach work with a team that I formulated called Restoration Outreach Ministries. And what we would do, we would have service once a month, fourth Sunday night. I gotta be honest with y'all, it was like a bootleg church because I had praise dancers, I had nurses, I had a whole staff, I had trustees, I had everything that a church has, but I just wasn't incorporated. I wasn't functioning as a church. We were doing it under the umbrella of outreach ministry, and we would go out and feed the homeless. And I started to bring in out-of-town preachers, and I mean, I was really doing everything that a senior pastor was doing. And then it just morphed into what we have now, Restoration Tabernacle, which I'm so godly proud of. We started that church, we launched it in 2012, and here we are in 2022 celebrating 10 years of doing ministry in Brooklyn, New York, the borough of churches. So for us to still be open after being in Brooklyn, the borough of churches, after going through this pandemic, proves that God's hand is on my church, is on, well, it's God's church. I'm just the under shepherd, but God's hand is on Restoration. And I pastor probably some of the most amazing, gifted people. We're launching entrepreneurs, homeowners, 8-year-old authors are coming out of our ministry. It's just crazy what God is doing. So big ups to Restoration. I love y'all. Y'all are really the greatest church on this side of heaven. Wow, drumming. That has to be my first love. I remember being about 7 to 8 years old in the kitchen at my house with my mom. And you know, back in those days in the 80s, you would have these big wooden spoons and big wooden forks. And I would climb on the chair and used to hang them on the wall in the kitchen. And I would take the spoon and the fork and then go under the sink and grab one of my mom's big pots and pans. And I would just start playing on it. Bang, 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 bang. And I don't know why, my mom never stopped me from banging on those pots and pans. I guess she knew something that I didn't know. Then when I was around 12, I remember this like it was yesterday. My dad took me to audition for a school called Jazzmobile, which is still open now, and they're producing some amazing musicians out of the school. And I went in and you had to audition. And I went in and played Sucker MCs on the drums. A song, because I just love hip hop, by Run DMC. I played it and they were so blown away that I was actually playing like the melody on the drums, if that was even possible, because as soon as I started playing it, they knew exactly what song I was playing. And, you know, I started traveling around playing for different choirs. I started out playing for Pastor Jeffrey Conyers and the Worldwide Crusade Ministries. That's the first community choir that I played for. And then I left them and started playing for Professor James Hall in worship and praise. I did that for about 2 years and then shifted from them and started playing for Bishop Hezekiah Walker. And the crazy thing about that, me and my cousin Lauren Dawson was sitting in a church called House of David, and Love Fellowship had to sing. Stanley Brown, Gerald Haywood, Craig, none of the guys, Eddie White showed up. And Bishop Walker got up and said, hey, are there any musicians in the audience that know my song, I'll Make It? I elbowed my cousin Lauren. I was like, bam! I was like, yo, this is our shot, bro. We gotta do it. And it was so crazy because we had been shedding and practicing to I'll Make It for months. And who knew that Bishop Walker would come to a church where we were sitting in the audience and ask, was there any musicians? Because Stanley and all of them left to go play for God. Thank God for Teddy Riley. Thank God for Stanley Brown. Because what happened, we played I'll Make It that day, and we nailed it with such precision that Bishop Walker invited us to come out to rehearsal, and I ended up playing for Bishop Walker for 10 years after that. My cousin Lauren did about 2 to 3 years, and he left and became a platinum producer doing Jessica Simpson and so many other artists, but we were able to win a Grammy with Bishop Walker for Live in Atlanta. It was one of the craziest albums that we ever did. We recorded with Fred Hammond, Marvin Sapp Commission. It was probably just unbelievably the most exciting album that I've ever been a part of. Well, one of them. And then we did Shaking the House with Yolanda Adams. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I've been blessed to play and tour with some of gospel's greatest artists, and it's because of my love for the drums. So if you have a passion, pursue it, because you never know where it's going to take you. As an entrepreneur, I am the proud CEO and owner of All Things Enterprise LLC, and under that umbrella, we have a gourmet dessert line. And I'm telling y'all, I make the #1 banana pudding in New York City. There's nobody, your grandmother, your aunt, none of them want this smoke with me with this banana pudding. I'm telling y'all, it's amazing.
All right, so this next story is all about the hustle. I caught up with a pastor from Brooklyn who traded in his pulpit for banana pudding. Check it out.
Hey, my name is Jason Hendrickson, and I am the senior pastor of the Restoration Tabernacle here in Brooklyn, New York. The banana pudding actually came from my clothing line. I started a clothing line, and then after that, we started a dessert line. And what I wanted to do, I tried to make some cakes, and all of my cakes, I made about 5. And, you know, I come from a bloodline of great bakers. So I'm thinking, you know, I got it because it's in my blood. But all of my cakes came out terrible. They were horrible. They were like this big, looked like giant pancakes. They tasted great, but looked horrible. So I said, I have to figure out something else to do, because the pandemic kind of slowed down how I was making money. I was making money traveling, of course, doing music, concerts, public speaking engagements. I said, well, what am I going to do? So I got the idea to make this banana pudding. So I called my mom and I called my friend Nicole out in California, who are both amazing cooks and bakers. And they both gave me their own recipe. And I said, okay, I'm going to put my little je ne sais quoi in there and do what I do. And I put some stuff in it, and I just started marketing it on Facebook and all my social media platforms. And people started ordering it. And a lot of people were joking and clowning me at first. They was like, man, you ain't no baker. What you doing? You don't know how to make no banana pudding. But all it takes is just one taste. And by the time they took one spoonful, I would turn around and go back, the whole pan was gone. So I said, oh, we're on to something. It's my recipe. It is made by me. I don't have anybody else making it with me right now, but if it keeps going the way it's going, I'm going to have to hire some people. The message behind this is there's something that is laying dormant in you. There's a giant in all of us. And my hope for doing this banana pudding was to wake up the giant in everybody in my community, everybody in my church. I want you to know that there's something in you that has the ability to change the game for your family. We're living in a time where a black man, I remember, couldn't walk in the bank with a mask on. Now a black man can't walk in the bank without one. So everything is completely different, and it's up to us to take advantage of it. We also have our own clothing line, and it started out just with a hashtag on social media, hashtag all things, and it has morphed into a multi-design, multi-faceted urban clothing line. We have stuff for kids, for ladies, for the men, sweatsuits, hats. It's just amazing. And also we have all things music, which we are now developing and pursuing to start producing other songwriters and other artists under that umbrella. So all things is really all things. So we want you to check it out. Anywhere you see that logo, I want you to support it because it's off the chain. What makes me a producer, and a lot of people need to understand it, it's just not somebody that makes beats. A producer is someone that sees a project from start to finish, that understands and knows what mics you use, what preamps you use, that knows who's mastering the record, who's mixing the record, who played on the record. Also, a producer has the ability to almost, I don't want to say babysit an artist, but to make an artist feel comfortable enough to take them from start to finish. Everybody cannot do that. You got to have great people skills. Of course, you got to have a great ear, but you have to be able to sit with the project from start to finish, because if not, you're just a beat maker. You're just hired help. You just work for hire. But a producer sees a project from start to end. I'm talking about artwork. I'm talking about marketing. You get involved with everything when you're a producer. And that's what I am. How do I manage it all? I have an amazing team. I have an amazing team at my church. Big shout out to Keisha Parker, Soraya Jordan, Selena. I have an amazing team with my business, Alexandra Sales, who basically keeps me on point, lets me know where I have to be. Let me tell you something. Anybody that's doing anything worthwhile, you need help. And the higher up you go, the more help you're gonna need. Let me share something with y'all. If you're climbing a mountain, right? The higher up you go, the air starts to get thin. And you need the assistance of oxygen in order just to stay on top. So the higher you go, you're gonna need help. That's how I manage all that I'm doing. And other than that, I have a crazy work ethic. I have a crazy saying, y'all, that drive overrides talent any day. So there may be people that are more talented than me, but I don't know a lot of people that's gonna outwork me. You gotta be disciplined. And again, where there is no pursuit, it's because there's no passion. So I'm extremely passionate about music, about education, about the arts, about being a creative. I love what I do. And that's what makes me keep going, because that's my why factor. I just love it, man. And I'm thankful that God gave me this gift, and I plan to exhaust it until there's nothing left. In 5 years, I'll still be making music. I'll definitely be producing other artists. I'll be writing more books. I'll have a much bigger location for my church. The business will be expanded. And I will be doing a lot more traveling. I'll be doing a lot more traveling in 5 years, because I will have all my degrees by then. And you're gonna see a whole lot change for me in the next 5 years, because I'm really big on imparting into the next generation. I think people from my generation make the drastic mistake of competing instead of completing. So it's my assignment, I feel it's my passion in life, to grab the younger cats that's coming up behind me and pour into them so that they can do more than I've done. But I'm gonna set the bar so high for y'all that you can't play around, that you're gonna have to work hard, you have to dedicate yourself to what it is that you've been called to do, and you gotta know your assignment. And that's my job, to help people find out their why factor, to show them some shortcuts, because that's the only shortcut to success, which is mentorship. And so I'll be mentoring a lot of people, doing a lot of web series and acting. There's some crazy things coming down the pipeline, so it's gonna be a little different, but I'll still be doing creative things. As a songwriter, I've been blessed to get a whole lot of placements, man. My first placement, rest in peace, was with Pastor Timothy Wright. on the first New York Fellowship album. Me and my boy David Caton wrote a song called I Tried Him and I Know Him or He Cares. And that was my first placement. And then from there, it just kept going. I have placements with Paul Porter. I have placements with Marvin Sapp. Who else? Angelo and Veronica. Wow, all of my albums I write on. I've been blessed to produce and write Desiree Coleman, the star of Mama I Wanna Sing. I did her whole project, me and my boy Kenny Black. Got a whole bunch of different singles and on other artists that we've written on, and we just blessed, man. And then we shifted from being just a songwriter to now becoming a published author. My first book was entitled You're Not My Daddy, Guidelines to Becoming a Successful Stepfather. And I am the only African-American author that wrote on step parenting in the marketplace. It's amazing because a lot of people are dealing with this and a lot of people are talking about it. So in that book, I shared my failures and my victories as being a stepdad. And then some years later, I was blessed to write 2 anthologies. Big shout out to one of my mentors, Coffee Brown. One of them was A Race to the Ring. And the second one was You Played Me and Married Her. Crazy. And both those books are bestsellers on Amazon, international and national selling list. So we've been blessed to do a whole lot. And we have a new book coming called Destiny is a Decision. It's crazy, y'all. Get ready for it. Well, everybody, that's me. That's my story. Jason Hendrickson, singer, songwriter, producer, published author, and senior pastor. I would love it if you guys stay connected to me by visiting my website, www.jhen.com. You can follow me on all social media platforms, Jason Hendrickson. I really want to stay connected to you. Let's connect. I can't wait to hear from you. God bless.
Yeah, that was amazing. Oh my gosh, that was incredible. I really hope
Was
you
it
guys...
all right?
Yeah, man, that was it.
I told you. Did I lie? Or did I keep my word?
Kept your word.
Kept
Kept
your
your word. Well, greetings, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed the EPK because it's amazing, but this presentation is not over. As you can see, Jason Hendrickson has joined us. We're about to have a fun conversation, and we've got a couple of surprises for you as well. Jay, how are you, brother?
Man, I'm doing so good, and I'm really blessed to be here and just be alive and healthy, doing what God called me to do. I gotta say, my bishop is on here.
Yes.
Big shout out to he's one of my biggest inspirations, Bishop Darrell Hill. I love you so much, Bishop. Thank you for always pushing me. And I'll tell you something about him, how he really pushed me in a few. But go ahead. I'm just glad to be here, y'all.
No, you're good. He is legendary for sure. Shout out to the good Bishop Darrell Hill and all of the great folks there at their church. We've done some things with them in the past as well. So shout out to them, man. This EPK was amazing. What a great look at you, man. And I don't think the world knew you were as busy as you are.
I don't know, man. You know what it is, G. I just pride myself on knowing how to pivot. Because that's one of the things that I see a lot of people. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should continue to do that.
Absolutely.
You have to leave yourself open to the pivot that God institutes in your life. And God is always, and I know to some people it's probably like, he's always doing this, he's always doing it. But I just hear and see so much in my mind. That's why I thank God for my bishop. This is where I can tell you guys what he did. Back when we were on, we first started the church. I had my group New Sounds and different things like that. My pastor came to me and said, you are procrastinating putting this album out. And I was like, it's going to get done, Bishop. He said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. You will not sing at this church until you finish your album. Wow. And I was like, excuse me? He was like, no. He said, I have to do something drastic because it's that important that you get what God put inside of you out. And I was so blown away by that. I was like, is he really serious? And he wasn't playing. He was like, I'm just serious. You will not function until you do what God told you to do. This is going to always be all right. We're going to make it. But I need you to release what God put inside of you. And that's so dynamic because so many leaders, once they see something in you, because of their own insecurities, they try to stifle and suffocate. But I've always thanked God that my bishop always pushed me and always was on my back, like, get it done, get it done, get it done. And, you know, that's how Let Your Mercies, the first album, got completed, because he would not. And I love singing at my church. I was the praise and worship leader. I loved it. So for him to take that and use that, I got that album finished. I think I got that album finished in like 2 weeks. I was like, oh no, you not. I'm not. I'm getting back up at my church. I love my assignment. So thank God for Bishop Hill.
Absolutely. That's powerful. Again, shout out to Bishop Darrell Hill, all the good folks that are over there at the Powerhouse Church. I see Cherie in there and several others doing some incredible things. So let's go back to that, because kind of that's where you and I started, was back at the Drummer's Dream, Let Your Mercies album, which is almost 20 years ago, which is hard to believe. Like, that's crazy. So now we understand how that record came to be. So in understanding that, you got it done, you said, in about 2 weeks or so. So what was that writing process like for you then?
It was really crazy because, like I said, in the EPK, I was living in Europe at the time because I had gotten fired from Love Fellowship. I was playing. Bishop Walker fired me because, you know, I was just that rebellious young musician, didn't want to listen to nobody. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, I got to get out of here. Because at the time, Love Fellowship was the #1 gig, you know, in the city. And I was like, everybody knew. And I got fired on one of the biggest tours. We were on tour with Kirk Franklin. We were doing the Six Flags tour. So we were doing all the Six Flags in America. And Walker told me something. He said, if you do this, Jason, I'm telling you, I'm going to fire you. And I was like, whatever, you know, whatever. It's like, this is me. What you talking about? And I went ahead and did it. And when he got to Florida the next day, he fired me. Real talk. He called Regina Davis and said, get Jason out of here. Get him on the First Thing Smoking back to New York, and get Jeff Les down here on the First Thing Smoking to Florida. And that's how me and Jeff Les changed positions, because I got fired. So I go over to Europe. I auditioned with Queen Esther. And when I got to the audition, I went to audition to play drums. But when I got there, Eric Tribbett was there.
Okay.
I'm not tooting my own horn. I can play drums, but Eric Tribbett plays drums. When I got there and I saw Eric Tribbett, I said, there that go. I'm not getting this gig. I already knew it. And when I got there, Pastor Charles Lyles from Atlantic City was the MD for the show. And they was like, yo, Jason, man, we love you. We know who you are. We see your resume, but Queen loves Eric. And so I left out the audition room and I was sitting in the lobby and I was so depressed because I was like, yo, I'm embarrassed. I got fired. I don't want to be in America no more. I want to get out of here. So something said, ask them, do they need any more singers? So I go knock on the door. I'm like, Pastor Charles, do y'all need anybody in the tenor section? Do y'all need singers? I would have went to be Eric's drum tech. I wanted to get out of here so bad. Wow. And he said, yeah, do you sing? I said, absolutely. Now, mind you, I've never sung in front of nobody other than in my church choir as a kid.
Wow.
So they pull me in the audition room. Charles Lyles is one of the most dynamic piano players. I looked at him. I don't even know how I knew this. I said, put me in F sharp. I said, and I started singing tragedies are commonplace.
Come
I
on.
sung that song and they hired me on the spot.
Wow.
That's how I got overseas. And when I was over there, because of now the ironic thing, G, about Queen Esther is over here, nobody knows her. Nobody
Which
really
is
knows her
crazy.
like that. But over there, she's like a rock star.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Like we
mhm.
were, my first show was at the Margadorf Theater, which
Wow.
seats about 7,500 people. And it was
Wow.
jam-packed every night. She took me from playing drums to singing for the Pope. This is the kind of stuff she's doing over there and still
Wow.
doing it to this day presently. And it was
Wow.
over there that, because I believe that God exposes you to what you're supposed to be doing before you're supposed to do it.
Mhm.
And he put me on that stage as a singer, and I watched how the power of music was able to change the atmosphere. And that's when he said, yo, you're going to be an artist
Wow.
and a preacher. And I was like, okay, God.
Right. That's crazy. And that takes you, of course, to the Let Your Mercies album, which Let Your Mercies is still one of my favorites. Like I
Yeah.
love that song and that project, which is
Yeah.
crazy. So I want to fast forward really quick because obviously you dropped a number of projects till about
Right.
2011, 2012.
Yeah.
And then you took about a decade-long break.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had started pastoring around that
Mhm.
time, if all the times line up. So
Mhm.
let me ask you, you're pastoring, then we have a pandemic.
Mhm.
Why in the world would you decide to record another record? And I ask because the pandemic gave people an opportunity, as you mentioned, to pivot.
Yeah.
There are artists who are no longer artists anymore. There are
Right.
pastors who are no longer pastors anymore.
Right.
People made changes and really had permission to do so.
That's right.
Why then, after 10 years and a pandemic, would you decide to record again?
Great question, G. Years ago, after getting fired off that tour, I ran into Kirk Franklin at Pilgrim, one of the churches up here. And I asked him, everybody calls Kirk Unc. I was like, yo, Unc, why you take so long to record albums?
Yeah.
He said, nephew, I gotta have something to write about. And the only way I have something to write about is I have to live through some stuff. And I took that to heart. I said, I'm going to do life now because I know what it is to travel and be on the road. I mean, 10 years nonstop. I was never here. Every weekend, I mean, getting in trouble, because my mom had one rule. You can go with Hezekiah, with Bishop Walker, but Monday morning, you better get up and go to school. And so, I mean, all of that was in my last years of high school and all that. And I just decided to just live a little bit and find out what it is I could do from a lyrical standpoint that would stretch me as a writer, because I'm naturally gifted to write songs. I can write a song like that, you know what I mean? But for it to have some substance to it, some meat on that bone, I had to live through some stuff, man. And I lived through some stuff, man, and you're going to hear it on this particular project. So that's what made me do it. Life.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. And a lot of life happens in 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
A whole lot of life. So let me ask, I'm going to dig because you got me here. That's what you want me to do. So tell me one of the big things that's happened in the last 10 years that really impacted your writing for this album.
I became a grandfather.
That's big.
I became a grandfather, and why I really wanted to start exhausting all my gifts again is because at this age, I'm no longer chasing destiny. I have that locked in. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know I'm called to preach. I know I'm called to pastor.
Right.
I know I'm called to be a creative in different areas.
Right.
But at this age, I became more concerned with legacy. What am I going to do that will empower? Because my grandson, Ason, he's the only male on my side of the family. I have nephews and, of course, my brother and different things. But from my bloodline, my DNA, my grandson is the next guy in my family. So I was like, what am I going to do to ensure that Ason has a life better than I had?
Right.
And that meant me getting back in the studio. Not only that, going back to school.
There you go.
Proud to say I was the salutatorian of my associate's degree program. I was the valedictorian of my bachelor's degree, and I'm about to be the first back-to-back valedictorian next year when I graduate with my master's. So yeah, I did all of that because I want to set the bar really high for the generation coming behind me, but I also want to give them some broad shoulders to stand on. So that's what made me go back and do everything that I'm doing.
Wow. That's fantastic. So in case you guys don't know, there is a new record coming.
Yes.
That's why we're doing all this. There's a whole new record coming. We're going to tell you about that. But are you ready to share kind of a song from this new record?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to share a song with you guys that I'm excited about just because of who's involved. So we got to talk about who's involved with this next song that we're going to air. The song is called Hold On, and it features two artists, one you may know and one you may not know. One you don't know is named Brooklyn, but then the one that mostly everybody knows is a young lady you might have heard of. Her name is Monique Walker. Talk about how this song came together and how you got these two on this single for you.
Wow, it's crazy. I wrote Hold On 17 years ago. I wrote this song 17 years ago, which to all songwriters, be encouraged because real music lasts forever. Yeah. And I was going to put this on my album, Sovereign God. But for whatever reason, I didn't. And, it just didn't make the cut. But Monique and I, Pastor Monique now, I want to respect her title.
Yes.
We traveled together for years with Love Fellowship. And so many classic moments with us musically in that sector of music, choir music, God of a Second Chance. He's on Your Side with BB Winans. The list just goes on and on. I wanted to pull Monique out of her comfort zone because everybody knows Monique for singing ballads.
Right.
And, those slow songs with the choir. I said, I wonder what would happen if I put Monique on this hip hop type of vibe. Right. And Brooklyn is my blood niece. That's my sister Kim's daughter. And Brooklyn is one of the hottest up and coming rappers right now. I mean, she's all on Hot 97, 105. DJ Enough just kind of took her under his wing and taken her all over the country. So that was kind of like a twofold dream because I wanted to produce Monique, but I also wanted to finally do something with somebody from my family. I co-wrote some songs with my brother Lawrence on my first album, but I never performed with anybody like lyrically. So I called my niece up and she was like, just send it to me, Unc. And she murdered it. Y'all gonna hear it. She killed it. Yeah.
Well, I love it. I think we're ready to hear this. So guys, prepare yourself, kind of a preview of this new project that's dropping at the end of the month. This single's called Hold On, and it features Brooklyn and Pastor Monique Walker. Check it out.
Here we go, y'all.
This one is for all my people that's been struggling and you feel like things are never gonna get better. But I want you to know that if you can just hold on just a little while longer, things are gonna work out for you good. I want you to help me. Don't you give up. You just hold on. Don't you give up. See you through the sun.
Suffering for a while. You're all alone and hurt just like a little child. Just let me tell you, you can cast your cares on him. He'll never let you down on him. You can, he can. Hold on. You just hold on. faith, you can watch us go. Worth so much more than pots of gold. Then we gon' keep it going unstoppable.
Hold on.
That goes.
Okay.
That joint goes. That is. Oh, that more. Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
That's Hold On, of course, Jason Hendrickson featuring Brooklyn and Pastor Monique Walker. That is fire. That's from the upcoming album. The album's called Reset. That's coming at the end of the month. But yeah, great work there, Jay. Great work.
Yeah, thank you, man. And I really want to play that song because I'm dedicating that to my brother Anthony Goodwin, aka Ant-Man, who just passed away. He is probably one of the greatest guitarists from our city, and I was blessed to have him play on that record. And the Lord just made a decision to call him home like a week or two ago. So the musician community up here in New York, we're really hurting behind that. So when it came time to pick a song for me to play from the album, I said, I'm going to do that as a tribute to my brother Ant, because he was just an amazing young man. And big shout out to Sherelle Cruz, who did the lyric video, and Cedric Mitchell and Woody, everybody that did that song with me, and of course to Pastor Mo and my niece Brooklyn. I love y'all so much.
Yeah, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And certainly our thoughts and prayers are going out to the family of Ant-Man and just so many people who are impacted by that. So I wanted to ask you this. One thing I understand is when you're kind of pivoting and switching roles, you kind of need time to brand yourself in that space. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, your last album being in 2012, you started the church then, you spent kind of 10 years pastoring. Let me ask, for you, was it important for you to be able to take enough time to be known as Pastor Jay before returning to becoming an artist? Or were you not even thinking about that? Was it just, hey, I just feel like pastoring, I'm not worried about how people know me, this is just where I am right now?
No, I definitely wanted, it was very intentional, the time that I took off, because pastoring was so far out of my mind. You know, I knew that it was going to happen, but I just didn't think it would happen when it happened. But shout out again to my bishop, who was very instrumental in helping me to come head on with my destiny.
Right.
Because if it was up to me, I would have stayed in my comfort zone, which was on the drums, singing and playing. But I think it's something that we all have to have. I tell people, Gerard, that you have to assess your growth environment, and you have to really check who's around you, what they're doing to you and what they're doing for you. And if the people around you are not pushing you toward your destiny, if, you know, because a lot of people benefited from my insecurities.
Absolutely. Now, don't switch this. We'll go another direction.
Yeah.
But keep going, sir.
A lot of people benefited from my uncertainty.
Absolutely.
of me not knowing who I was and being afraid and cutting off my excellent switch because they couldn't handle how big God made me.
Come on.
And I had to dumb down and act like I didn't know what I knew just to make other people comfortable. But when I got around my bishop and different guys, like my boy Dave Caton, my producer Franchon Corbett, my management team, they make me think that I can do whatever God has instructed me to do. And that's the key, man. You got to get people in your life that will not settle for you living in mediocrity.
Yes.
And that's one thing, because I've told my bishop about 97 times, I'm quitting pastoring. I'm coming back to help you at that church. And he said, no, you ain't. He said, he said, if I got to come over there to Restoration and do a 7-day revival, I'm going to do it because you're going to make it. Cherie is another one. I mean, just having people that I can call and this is what I'm preaching tomorrow. What you think? And we're sharpening. And what's so dope, Elder McCullough, different ones. My whole squad right now is winning.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing. My entire squad is winning. And nobody's jealous. Nobody's secretly hating. Nobody's calling nobody because they saw you on the flyer. You having Hendrickson? If you have him, I'm not coming. No.
Right.
God has rescued us from the competitive disease culture of the church and has put us in the kingdom where everybody is in their lane. Because when you put me in my lane, ain't nobody gonna beat me. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
When I'm doing what I'm graced to do, because that's the thing.
That's
you
it.
have to find out what have you been graced to do. Because if somebody looks at all that I'm doing and try to do, you might lose your mind.
Absolutely.
The only reason why I'm able to do this and do it at a high level is because God has graced me. And even in being graced, you still have to understand timing. I can't stop talking about my bishop because that's one of the things he is a master at. I'm like, yo, how does this guy understand timing so well? He's like, nah, don't do that now. Do this. Hold off on that. And even sometimes, I'll be honest, I got mad at him.
Sure.
Because I thought he was trying to hold me back. But in retrospect, he ain't been wrong yet.
Wow.
He has been spot on every time. That's why whenever I do music, he's the first one that I send it to. I send it to him, Dave Caton, Stanley Brown.
Yeah.
And the first radio announcer is Gerard.
Wow.
You're the first one to get my music every time because you got to have people in your life that are unbothered by your emotions. Not that they don't care how you feel, but the Bible even says the heart is deceitful. So you need people in your life that won't get clouded because you're in your bag, because you're in your feelings. No, you need somebody that's going to tell you like, yo, that's dumb. That's not a good idea.
Right.
And my friends, they are rude. They are rude, but they're rude with love. And I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. Shout out to Curtis Murphy, Cherie, Allie, Bishop, everybody that's in my circle. And then my family on top of that. My dad is on here.
Wow.
I'm talking about my biggest. My father puts his money where his mouth is.
Yes,
he's still paying for stuff for me, and I'm almost 50 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
But my dad, that's my hero. Anything that I need, I can call my dad. Like, yo, Dad, I don't got no money, man. I need to go out to LA.
Yeah,
check your Cash App. Done.
Wow.
So I'm blessed, man, all the way around. Yeah.
That's like amazing. And there are like a million places I could go, and we have just a couple of minutes left.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask this though. With you pastoring, how has that impacted you as an artist? Because that wasn't something that you had to contribute to all of your previous albums. Now that you've been working with people and intricately involved in their lives, how has that impacted what this new album is going to look like?
I got a lot of love songs on here, man.
Yeah.
I got a lot of
Yeah.
songs about love on this album because
Yeah.
one of the things that I learned as a pastor is compassion always cures more sin than condemnation. So I have become, and I can't believe it because I thought when I started, I said, God, I'm going to mess these people's lives up because I don't like people. What are you doing calling me the pastor, God?
Wow.
And I found myself over the years actually developing a shepherd's heart.
Wow.
And when I tell you I love people, I can't hold grudges anymore.
Mhm.
Sometimes I feel like I'm a punk because I'm so forgiving, but it's just that's the biggest part. You know, I still got hands or whatever. Don't try me, y'all. Don't try me. But I'm always the one that tries to bring people together. And I can't believe it because I used to like seeing discord. I used to like seeing people fighting. I used to just start the fire and sit back and like, we're just gonna go. Now I'm like, no, everybody chill out. Like let's love, let's hug each other, let's get it, you know. And so that's the biggest thing that's changed me. My whole life, everything is just a lot of love now. A whole lot.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Let me ask this one thing before we get out of here, because one of the many songs on this record is Satisfy, and it features Richie Righteous, which when I saw that, I'm like, so you're just going to tap hip hop legends now. That's what we're doing?
Absolutely.
Okay. So please tell me how that connection happened, because I'm incredibly intrigued.
Man, it's crazy because, you know, I talk a lot of smack, G. I talk a lot of smack. Especially when it comes to marketing. That's one of my ploys that I do. I always talk smack. So every year I go on Facebook and I challenge all the hip hop rappers to a battle. Richie Righteous, Richard Dolphin, L Butler, Q the Prophet, name them. I'm like, yo, y'all don't want no smoke with me. I'm telling you, I got bars. And they never respond. They never took me serious. Then I messed around and really started talking trash. I said, not only do I got bars, but I'm going to do a record and I'm going to get on Hot 97 before all of y'all. And they was like, what? Yo, this guy is crazy. Yo, G, I went in the studio, did the record. I got a hip hop single out right now called Change My Life. I'm rapping the whole song.
Wow.
Whole song. And I got on Hot 97 the week after I released it. I had one battle with this rapper named Gabe from Davy Wright Church. I call him out every time because I want to get him again. When I tell you I destroyed this guy so bad. I ripped him to shreds. It was just all the rappers were like, Jason, stop, leave him alone. Leave him. Because he kept talking like he wanted this smoke. And I was like, I'm telling you, I'm not a rapper, but I am a lyricist. Right. I do put words together. I'm a wordsmith. And he kept pushing me. Then we ran into each other and I just ripped his heart out. You remember Mortal Kombat? Yes. That's what I did to Gabe. And we ain't heard from him since. Gabe, where are you? Where are you, Gabe?
Jason.
I want round 2. Where are you, Gabe?
Bro,
come get it. Come get it. If you're there. Pastor Davy Wright is his pastor. He goes to Grace Tabernacle on Pacific between Utica and Schenectady. Tell that boy Gabe I want round 2 because I'm not finished with him yet.
Oh my God.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's insane.
He's calling you out.
Oh God.
Hey, listen, I got my brother Gerard here who commentates wrestling. Maybe we'll set it up and you can commentate the battle. Yeah. I'm gonna pile drive him. I'm a stunner him.
It's 316 days, so it makes sense.
Yeah. You can't see me, Dave. You can't see me.
This is taking a turn, folks. Gabe, where are you?
Where are you, Gabe?
Where are you? So amid all of that, how did you end up with Richie Righteous, though?
Because I called Richie. I was like, Richie, I got this song, man. You got to do it. And me and Richie always been like this, always
Okay.
been brothers.
Dope.
And I wanted to do a little wind it up song.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, Rich, I need you to spit on this. And when he heard the record, he's like, yo, I'm going to do something a little different. And I was like, yo, Rich, I trust you totally, whatever you do. And he came back with some Beanie Man type of vibe. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So I think everybody's going to be super surprised when they hear, number one, me doing this style of song. And then number two, hearing what Richie Righteous did on this record. It was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah. For those who, well, you haven't heard it yet, but take my word for it, guys. I didn't even realize it was Richie Righteous on there. It is so different, which again speaks to, you know, all that you have been doing musically, Jay, and just the maturation of Jason Hendrickson musically has been just something very, very special. And I think this record is going to be incredible. So tell people about the new album and when they can get it and where they can get it.
Okay. Well, I got it on tonight, y'all. The name of the album is Reset. And just a quick storyline behind it. My first game console that I liked, because I'm going to show my age.
Let's go.
Darius Thomas. My first two games consoles was Atari 2600 and ColecoVision.
Oh, you were original. Got it.
The first game system that I loved was Nintendo.
Of course.
And Nintendo was brilliant because you purchased the game and you got a cartridge that had two games on it. It had Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Yes.
And I love Duck Hunt, but I really love Super Mario Brothers. And it didn't hit me till I started doing this record that Nintendo was brilliant because there was 8 stages to Super Mario Brothers. 8 different levels you had to go through. And the object of the game was to go through this journey to rescue a princess that was in chains. She was in bondage. And the way that they did the graphics, it was like she was in hell. And you had to fight a big giant dragon at the end of the game. But Nintendo was smart enough to know along your journey, you're going to lose power. Along your journey, you may even die in the game. But they didn't want you to have to go back to the beginning. They wanted you to start over right where you stopped. And the only thing you had to do was hit the reset button.
There it is.
That was it.
There it is.
So I was like, yo, we've been through so much. We lost so much. I lost one of my best friends, Bishop Zebedee Doughton, in this pandemic. It was just so crazy. And I said, God, what are we going to do? He said, you're still here. You lost a lot, but you're still here. I want the church. I want my leaders, the world, to hit the reset button and put me back where I belong. Because what we started doing, we started building monuments to men instead of ministries to God.
Come on.
And I think that's why God kind of shut down the church. And that's why everybody, if you have 20,000 members, 50 members, we was all preaching in an empty church to a camera.
That's right.
And that was because God wanted our motives to be purified and wanted us to redirect the people's attention to Calvary. And so that's the whole premise of this new album. And it's going to come out March 31st for the first 3 weeks. It will be exclusively available on Bandcamp. You will see the link. And I want you guys to grab it. And then maybe next month, at the end of April, we'll put it on all the other platforms. It'll be available everywhere. But I'm going to be very upfront with y'all. Bandcamp is for seed sowers. It's for seed sowers. Because the way streaming and all that stuff is now, if we just put our music on Apple Music and Spotify, we're basically just giving our music away for free. So in order for us to kind of make something back because of partners like you, we put the music on Bandcamp and you guys actually get to sow a seed into the project. And so I'll let you guys know now, the album is $20 on Bandcamp, $20. And if my ministry over these years have meant anything to you,
Yes.
I know you'll sow it, and you'll help support me continue to make more music, because all I'm going to do is take this money and go do another project. So
Yeah.
that's it, man.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Let me just echo that and remind people, I think most don't understand the battle that not just gospel artists, but artists of every genre are having when it comes to streaming. While streaming certainly is beneficial to the consumer, it is not necessarily beneficial to the artist. So if you do care about artists, there are lots of ways to support them. And by going through means like Bandcamp, it really does allow artists like Jason to be able to actually render and gain more of revenue from that purchase. And you still get to listen to the album as much as you want after you've been able to purchase it. Also while you're doing that, matter of fact, Jason, give them your website as well, because I know you've got your apparel and all of these other ways that people can support you as well.
www.jhen.com, JAEHEN.com. Everything is there. All my social media platforms is Jason Hendrickson, my full name. I want to connect with you guys. I want to talk with you guys. When you guys sending me messages, that's me for the most part answering. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes somebody from my team may answer, but for the most part, it's me. I love communicating with people, and I look forward to connecting with you guys.
Awesome. So again, head to the website, jhen.com. Mark the date on your calendar. 2 weeks from tomorrow. That's March the 31st is when you'll be able to check out the new album Reset on Bandcamp. Stay connected to Jason's socials so you can see the link for his Bandcamp page to be able to check that out, and anything else he might have there as well, because he's got a lot of great music that you guys can check out there. So before we get out of here, we're going to leave you with a single that's going to be on the record, but this has been a very, very big single for Jason as of late, which I am excited about this single. The single is called Another Chance, and I thought it was released exclusively on Bandcamp for a second too.
It was.
Yeah, so my memory's right. So definitely check it out there. But we're gonna have the video, which, by the way, man, the quality of these videos has been amazing, dude.
Wow,
you're killing it.
Big shout out to the director of this video, my little bro, Stunner Garrell.
Yep.
He is crazy. And you wouldn't believe it. He just started shooting videos.
I love it. I
mean, he's like not even 2 years in.
I love
this is the quality of work that he's doing. And I gotta shout out my siblings, because they will kill me. My sister Jamie, who's my Shiro. She's my Shiro. She's the reason why I went back to school and got my sister's dope, man. She's the principal of a school, and she was the first one in our family to ever graduate college, and she inspired me and some of the other young ladies in my church to go back. So, and my brother Lawrence, my guy, my best friend, my first best friend. I love y'all. But man, I'm excited, and I gotta say thank you to Crystal for finally taking me on as a client, because I had to fight with her for a year.
Gerard,
she would do it.
He wore me out, okay?
I believe it.
But
I believe it.
A lot of y'all don't know, Gerard wrote my first review as an artist back in the day when there was a website called gospelflavor.com.
Yes.
And he gave me my first review. I knew nothing about reviews. I was petrified, but he was very kind.
Very kind.
That's why we're still friends to this day. Because if he gave me a bad review, I wouldn't have. But that's amazing. So thank you, Gerard, for being here tonight.
Thank you.
I didn't want to do this with anybody but you. And I got to give a shout out to my producer, Sean Corbett, who has taken me as an artist and vocally somewhere I've never been before. So big shout out to Fran. And we're already 2 songs in the next project. We're working already.
I love it.
We ain't playing, man. So
I love it. Well, once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to wrap up with this new single called Another Chance. Again, my name is Gerard Bonner from Bonnerfied Radio, the Bonnerfied playlist, which the next section of the playlist drops tomorrow. So check it out exclusively on Spotify. Thanks again, Chris, to everybody in the chat. You guys are amazing. We're going to leave you with this single from Jason Hendrickson. Remember, Reset March the 31st, exclusively on Bandcamp. You can check it out. Until then, here is another chance from Jason Hendrickson.
When I think of your goodness and all you've done for me, I gotta give you thanks, 'cause I should have been dead and gone. You've been good, so good. I just wanna give you all the glory. But what I do without your love, where would I be without your grace? I don't know what I would do without you. Oh Lord, thankful for another chance just to praise and honor you. Another chance just to praise and honor you. Listen, y'all, I'm standing here today, y'all, as a living testimony of His goodness and His grace, y'all. I can call Him whenever I need Him. He's always been right there, never let me down. What would I do without your love? Where would I be without your grace? I don't know what I would do without you. You've been my guide, all of my life. Yes, you have. I'll give you praise. For all of my days. Yeah, yeah. Lord, I'm thankful, yeah. Another chance just to praise and honor you. Lord, I'm thankful, yes I am. Another chance